Everyone, welcome. My name is Dara. This is Dear Hallmark, and this is your safe space where you can come in and we can talk all things Hallmark Channel. Now, you guys, this one is a special one. I want you to grab your favorite mug. I've grabbed my favorite mug here, and I want you to get your favorite beverage because we have one of my favorite actresses here with us today. You've seen her in Season for Love. You've seen her in A 27-Hour Day. And her latest movie, you'll be able to see her in. She's kicking off Summer Nights 2024 for Junebug, which premieres this Saturday at 8 p.m. Guys, I want you to give a hearty, dear Hallmark welcome to Miss Autumn Reeser. Ma'am, how are you doing? Thank you for being here.
Yay! You're the cutest. Thank you for having me.
You are
Oh my
more
God.
than welcome. You are more
I'm
than
sorry
welcome.
I didn't bring my favorite mug. I didn't know.
Oh,
I have a water bottle.
you are the mug because you are comfort. And I've told you this, like each of the movies that you're in, you provide such a sense of comfort and coziness, which is why. And it's funny because I didn't like it just happened when people would ask me what my favorite movies are. All of the movies I named just had you in it. And I was like, wait, there's a pattern here. Like what's the pattern? And so I had to, go within. What's the pattern? It's the coziness and the comfort that you truly bring to each movie. So I am privileged and honored to have you here, ma'am. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks
You
for
are more
having
than
me.
welcome. You are more than welcome. So, my first question for you, the icebreaker. This is the formal icebreaker question, and then I'll ask you the informal icebreaker question.
Okay.
So, the formal icebreaker question is if you really had to live a 27-hour day,
Hmm.
what would you do with those extra 2 hours? 3 hours. Wait a minute. This is why I studied words and not numbers. Like I got an English degree. This is why my
Well,
dad said I'm a
you're
good
you're
actor.
not wrong because it was supposed to be called the 26-hour day, and
No
that title,
way.
yes, and that title was taken
Well,
by
look
a
at
book or something. Yeah. So
wow.
so you're not wrong.
But
hmm Um,
numerically it's 3 hours. So I'm gonna what
what
would
would I
you
do?
do
What
with
would
the
I do with
extra 3 hours?
extra time per day? That's such a oh
Or if you
man.
just had one day where you could live a 27-hour day, what would you do with those 3 hours?
Oh my gosh. This is such a tough question. What would I do? Because I think I'm very present in my life
Mm-hmm.
now,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of what 27-hour day was about.
Mm-hmm.
My journey to become everybody's journey to become more present in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I can name some things I wouldn't do. I don't know if I
Oh,
can name
okay.
things I would do because I like so many things. I love traveling with my kids. I love camping. I love eating good food with friends.
Yeah.
Dancing my face off.
Yes.
Reading. I all of those things, and they're all hiking. They're all a big part of my life. What I would not do is drive to children's activities. I think any mom out there can relate to this. I would skip that activity. I mean, I make the best of it. I listen to podcasts. I listen to, music. I let my kids listen to their music. We connect. But no, I would skip that. Somebody else could do that on my special 27-hour day.
I like that. I like that.
Mhm. And
I
somebody else could cook too. Yeah.
Oh,
I would
yes.
also just pass that task off to another human. Huh.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. I'm trying to think. What would I do with an extra 3 hours? Exercise. 1 hour for exercise, 1 hour for writing, and an hour to be unplugged. Just doing something
beautiful.
where I'm like, and I just know, like, not even trying to get into what the 27-hour days about, but like genuinely, that's something that I'm trying to work on this year is to just be off of my phone less and off of a screen less. So anytime that I have the time to do that, I want to take advantage of it. So
Love that answer.
yeah. Okay, so my informal icebreaker question. What kind of music do you listen to, Autumn Reset? I'm very curious.
Oh my gosh, what kind of music do you know what? I want to like go to my Spotify, but you know what? It's going to be all of my son's music because he's at a camp right now that's it's I didn't realize how far away this camp was going to be, so it's an extra 2 hours out of my day, driving there and
Oh.
back and then there and back. So we've been listening to a lot of his music. Um, so I'm like, What's on here? I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. Actually, is what
Mm.
What else do I have on here? Naima,
Mm.
friendly. I'm sure I'm saying everybody's name wrong. Saying everybody's name wrong. Oksana Hilo, Isla Nerio. Who else is on here? No. I'm just like reading it. Nomadic, Dine. I'm like just reading a bunch of people on my playlist now.
So what
My
genres what genres are they of music?
I don't know what you would call it. I'm not very good at all of that. I'm really not. I just kind of am like, I like this song. I like this song. This song
Yeah.
has a good beat. I'm really bad at it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell.
Yeah. I was just curious. So, getting down to the nitty-gritty.
All of my playlists are available on Spotify. I think they're all public. I'm gonna regret
Boom.
saying that, but
I'm team
there we go.
Spotify too. Their algorithm is something that should be taught because the way that Spotify knows me and knows how to I don't know if you've ever done they have what's called day list, and so they give you a mood for the time of day that you're on. Like one Saturday, they said I had a cuddly Afro punk afternoon. And so that was a playlist where they played like neo soul and a little with a little bit of like indie rock and like it was a
That's
mixture.
amazing.
Yes, so I've really been loving what Spotify's been doing with their algorithm, and so it's so cool.
Yeah.
So cool.
Okay. After we're done here, can you show me how to get to that feature on
Yes.
Spotify? Okay,
Yes,
great.
absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely. So, my first question for you. So, if little Autumn could look at what you're doing right now, acting, would she be shocked or did she know, nope, this is what we
That
set
was
out
what
to
she
do?
wanted to do. That was like
Wow.
her absolute dream. I knew I wanted to be an actress from the time I was like 6 or 7.
Wow.
I did theater in my hometown growing up. It was just very clear. I was one of those kids who was like, there's a stage, point me at it, put me on it. And I don't really like, that's not the type of family I come from or anything. I
Yeah.
think I kind of came out of left field for them.
Hmm.
But they always, my parents were so supportive of the arts. We
I
didn't grow
love
up with
that.
not a lot of money, but they made sure to, like, we went to the library all the time and they took us to community theater in my hometown and we went to a lot of museums on like the free museum day.
Yeah.
So the arts were always a really big part of my life.
Yeah.
And my parents always like told us that we could do anything we wanted. So that was like such a beautiful gift. I didn't realize what a gift that was until I got a lot older and met so many people who were struggling to come back to their artistic soul, their creative
Mm.
self,
Hmm.
because they've been so shut down in their home life growing up, right? Through
Yeah.
their parents' own fear and their parents' desire for them to have a good job, and that's a
Yeah.
it's a realistic desire, right?
Absolutely.
But watching people have to reclaim these parts of themselves just really has given me a lot of gratitude for the gift that my parents gave me in always telling us that we would pursue what we love.
And what is it you love the most about it? Is it different from a theater aspect as opposed to a film aspect because they're two different mediums, or is it kind of just across the board what you love about playing a character in general?
Oh, good question. Well, you definitely have to have all your lines memorized when you're on stage. Doesn't go well if you don't.
Yeah.
Um, but it's it's all the same and it's all different. I
Mm-hmm.
think what I love about what I do now is much more related to the types of stories that I want to tell,
Mm-hmm.
and having more agency over that. Because I'm an executive producer on this most recent one and was on 27-hour day, and having more creative input feels really
Hmm.
good at this stage. I'm starting to write on my own too, which
I
I
was going to
didn't.
ask you about that. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, which was a long time coming, and I'm still working with that part of myself because I had so many other people in my life who identified as writers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of us are like, oh, well, that's his thing or that's her
Mm-hmm.
thing. It's not
Mm-hmm.
my thing. My thing's this.
Mm-hmm.
And I since have realized like that's all just stories,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just our own fear of doing something new or something that our heart is afraid that we'll fail at or that we're not good
Right.
at, right? And when you work
Right.
through all of that stuff, then you just realize it's all play. It's all
Yeah.
fun. And that's it's so beautiful how Junebug came through right now in my life, right now as I'm stepping more into my own creative force as a writer. So is Juniper in the
Mm-hmm.
story of Junebug. And so it's just funny how I tried to make this movie like 4 or 5 years ago, but I wasn't really accepting that part of myself yet. And so
Mm-hmm.
now as that part of myself is coming online more, I magnetized and embodied a story in which that part of Juniper's life is coming online. She's
Yeah.
realizing she's a writer. So it's just so good. Like the divine plan is so good.
Yeah.
The way that these things align and work out in moments like this is beautiful.
Yeah. So, with you having this self assuredness that acting was something that you wanted to do from an early age, was there ever a moment where your confidence in yourself wavered? Like, was there an audition that you had that kind of took a blow at your confidence? Because talking with different actors in the Hallmark universe, I love hearing their stories of kind of overcoming their moments of self doubt and like low self esteem or anything like that. So I'm curious with you, being as though you knew from early on, was there ever a moment where that wavered for you, or were you kind of just a steady rock throughout your whole journey?
Um, you have to get used to the experience of rejection and failure very
Yeah.
quickly because I mean, it's hard to use those words because I don't really think of it that way anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But you lose more jobs than you book. Everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody does, unless you were really lucky right out of the gate and you blow up and become super famous, and now you're I don't know whose story that is, but I'm sure they're out there. Um, but if for me, I think the thing that I always tell younger actors that I mentor is that it's a process, and you have to fall in love with the process
Mm-hmm.
and not be outcome oriented. And it's really hard. It's really hard because you're like, I want to share my gifts. I want everybody to see my gifts. I want to book the job. But you have to fall in love with each character that you get to play in the audition process and go, that's
Mm-hmm.
enough. That's my job. My job is auditioning. My job is offering, letting this force flow through me, the force of the storyteller, whatever archetype I'm channeling on top of the force of the storyteller, let that flow through me, leave it in the room or, at your self-tape audition and go on with your day. Because it's not healthy otherwise to let these things eat us up inside. I should have got that, or I should have. No, you shouldn't have, because otherwise you could have it. It's like it wasn't for you. That's okay. But I
Mm-hmm.
think at the beginning, you really hold on to all of these things because you're really like, is something wrong with me? Am I not good enough? Do I need to get better? But I think the other thing I always tell young actors is, are you studying? A lot
Mm.
of people come out and want to get famous, and it's like, you don't, nobody's going to hand it to you. Are you working? Are you doing the work? Are you showing up to do the work? No? Then I don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a little harsh in that way, but I mean it. I don't think that it's something that should just be handed to you. I think it's an offering of yourself that you make, and you need to demonstrate to the universe that you're willing to make of yourself an offering for your art. And so you go to class to do that, and you show up every week, twice a week. You show up and you show up and you show up, and keep your focus there. And yeah, that's what I recommend to people. That's the way.
What was that transition like for you going from theater into film? And was it a hard one for you? Because even though they are both storytelling avenues, there is some differences that you mentioned earlier
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Well, I kind of want to ask you a little bit about theater because you were saying that you're in a theater camp and you're asking such good questions. I was like, wait a second, this feels like a very one-sided conversation. I want to ask you about your experience in theater now.
Oh, listen. this is all God. I have zero to negative sub-zero experience in theater, but what I love is storytelling. What I love is imagination, and what I love is communicating the truths of God's word through art. And so when my church provided this opportunity for a theater camp, they were like, "Oh yeah, Dara, boom, go ahead, do it." And it was more of a situation of like, what? Like I was fine just teaching the kids in the background for children's church on Sundays, but then it became an opportunity where, and my god brother, he always tells me this, like needing to be pushed and put into a circumstance where I'm forced to grow and forced to kind of come outside myself so that what's
Yeah.
really inside of me could blossom. And that's exactly what happened with this. And now like I get excited to go to plays and think, okay, well, how did they put that prop together? Or like it makes me excited now that I'm going through this. So that's the crock pot answer of your question. I apologize. But,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Yes. 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 I hear you on that. Beautiful.
Yeah. But yes, so what was the transition like for you from theater to film? Was it hard? Did you have to
Um,
adjust at all?
I think there's there's the process of getting comfortable on camera. I think one thing that I see a lot in young actors or even people who, I mean, we're all on camera now, right? Like everyone's on camera. We're all on camera all the time. You and I are both on camera right now. And so um, everybody is going through this process. But sometimes, like when I've coached people to make videos or do anything where they have to memorize a script or where they're starting to just act, the biggest thing that people have to put down is their idea of what it is to be an actor. Because they'll go into like an alternate version of themselves, even if they're reading a script is their own words. Maybe people are trying to put something together for their website or something like that, and they'll go into their idea of how to be on camera. So I think that's the biggest thing that people have to work through, sort of the deprogramming of ideas that you picked up before you allowed yourself to know it from the inside out. Um, I think, yeah, for me, it was just like getting comfortable learning about the lighting and hitting your mark and the technical aspects of it. That was really the only difference. What are the
Okay.
technical aspects? How do I deliver a line if the camera is going to be in this angle and it's punchline? There's a different way that I would deliver that depending on where the camera was placed.
Interesting.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just technical aspects, but the internal process is the same.
Yeah. So how did your acting journey lead you to Hallmark? What was that like? Your first Hallmark
Um,
movie?
and my first Hallmark movie was Love at the Thanksgiving Day Parade,
Ah, you know we're gonna
and
talk about that. I'm sorry.
Love at
Your
the
favorite
Thanksgiving
one?
Day Parade.
Yes.
Um, and Hallmark had been asking me to not yeah, so this is almost 12 years ago. Hallmark had been asking me to do movies for a few years, and I'd always said no. And then they sent me this script, and it was like a 1940s rom-com was how I experienced it. I mean, the character's in vintage the whole time. It's a script by Nancy Silvers. It was smart. It was quirky. It had life to it, and I'm part of a theater troupe called the Thrilling Adventure Hour. The Work Juice Players in our podcast is called Thrilling Adventure Hour, and we used to do a stage show here. We still do it from time to time, but we used to do a monthly show at a theater called M Bar. At the time, it was called M Bar, and then we moved it to Largo. But so I play a character there. I play Amelia Earhart, and she's very 1940s and very, it's a style, and it's a radio play show. And I have always loved the women of the 40s. That what we were allowed to bring to the screen in that era, just so intelligent and smart and sexy and fun. And the dialogue, Nancy's dialogue, had that snap to it, and
Yes.
that's what brought me in. I was like, yeah, I want to play that, and I'd never starred in a movie before, so I also didn't know if I could do it. I
Oh
never had the character
wow.
movie in that way. I'd done movies and TV and all of that, but I didn't know if I could carry a movie. So it was also the challenge and the fear. Um, so that's my
Let's just get into it because Love at the Thanksgiving Day Parade is my absolute top favorite movie of all of Hallmark cinema, and I think it like I watch that in the spring, I watch it in the summer, I watch it in the fall, I watch it in the winter, because even though it's like a Thanksgiving slash Christmas movie, much to what you said, the writing of it, the feel of it, it doesn't not that it takes anything away that it doesn't feel like Thanksgiving or Christmas, but I feel like I can watch it at any point because it feels like a real movie that I could see in the theaters. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
that's what I love so much about it.
Yeah, I liked that about it too. Yeah, and then I stayed because they were so good to me as a young mom. Because like on the behind the scenes, I felt taken care of. They helped me, and then I became a single mom very quickly after that. And so the logistics of trying to work with two tiny kids,
Yeah.
made me feel like I was a burden or that it was too much. And there's a lot of that out there, you know, where it's like this is problematic for us. I never felt that way with Hallmark. I was They were always like, tell us what you need. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that was just beautiful to receive. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm getting giddy thinking about one of my favorite scenes of Love at the Thanksgiving Day Parade, where you're he didn't propose to you, and you're in the limousine, and Antonio Cupo's character he pours you a drink in a champagne glass, and you just kind of go off, and you were like, "I've never drank before." He's like, "It's ginger ale, girl. Like it ain't that deep." And
Right.
I just like, it's just like stuff like that. Like another thing, you and Antonio Cupo the bomb. Love it. So when you did
I,
that post, I lost it. I was like, oh my gosh. Like
I was like,
yeah,
I don't think I've ever posted this picture either. And that's from, 12 years ago. And yeah, we just finished being producing partners on Junebug
I
and
love it.
just had the best time because we always do.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I've been trying to just share more on social media and come forward more. And I found that photo and I was like, oh my God, I've never posted this. All right, that's funny.
So chronologically, the next movie I want to talk to you about, this one is just a cutie patootie. And fun fact about it, before I reveal the title, the author of the book that it's based off of and the movie, I used to read her books as a teenager growing up. Like her books were some of my favorite. And that movie is All Summer Long with
Oh,
Brennan Elliott. So Melody Carlson is the author that I'm referencing. She has a deep catalog of books geared just towards teenage girls. And she has this Color Me series, and each color is reflective of an emotion. So, like blue is loneliness, green is envy, and each book deals with a girl in high school going like navigating through that emotion in some way. Like it's really really cool. But I digress. So all summer long, you and Brennan Elliott, another one. I'm just like, it's so beautiful, and that is a movie that it's a yearly summer watch, and it's not summer until I watch that movie. There's another movie of yours that I watch for the summer, but this one specifically is like it kicks off my summer. And so I wanted to ask you what it was like playing this character because also she's a sailor. Like she loves the water. She loves sailing, which I don't think you've done another role like that before within your Hallmark catalog. And then working with Brennan Elliott, who's one of my favorites as well. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
oh my gosh. Yes, I will say this. If anyone listening, should ever do a movie in which you need to sail a boat, spend more than one day learning how to do it. Just a tip from me to you. Um, no, I mean the thing with these movies, one of the reasons that I wanted to be an actress and loved doing it originally was because I was like, I want to live all the lives. I want just to have all these experiences, and I've Hallmark has allowed me to have so many different careers. It's actually hilarious. I think the one I least believed myself in was like frozen food executive.
Love on the, is that Love on the Menu? I think
I
with
think it's Love on the Menu is what
Kevin.
it's called. Yeah, frozen food executive. I don't even think that's like an aspirational job either. Like, no. But most of the other ones are. They're like chocolatier, like boutique owner, right? But yeah, so in All Summer Long, I think the story was originally he was the captain and she was the chef on the ship. I don't know if you can call it a ship. I don't know if that's allowed. I'll call it like I think there are rules around what you can call a boat and a ship.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sure I got it wrong. Somebody out there is gonna DM you and be like, "That's the wrong way." I'm sorry in advance. Like I said, I only had one day to rehearse this. But so that's the thing with these movies. A lot of times the prep time is very quick. It's like three
Mm,
weeks, and sometimes by the time these movies get to us, if we're not developing them, sometimes I'll only have like a week to get
mhm,
my life together, to learn the script, to figure out what I'm gonna do with my kids. Are they coming? Like just it's a lot,
mhm,
and so there's not a lot of prep time. And I sail a little sailboat in the
mhm,
opening.
mhm.
And this was actually my friend Rachel who does wardrobe on these movies. It was her sailboat, and it was one of the scariest things I've ever done
Wow.
because it's very difficult because you're actually trying to feel the rhythm of the wind and the water, and it's because it's rhythmic, you can't just pick it up. You somebody it's very present moment, it's very in the flow. I can see why people love it. It's a dance with nature,
Mhm,
and I did the best I could, but like you can't learn that in one day.
mm, mhm.
And so I almost tipped over the little sailboat, and I'm the only one in it, and they're on a big boat filming me. And I kind of couldn't wait to get out of it because I was like, I know I'm gonna go over, and then it's gonna be a big problem for production. And then our stunt guy who sailed it back to land did tip it over after the shot. The whole boat went over, and then it was like a whole thing. So it was a real tippy little sailboat. That's my story from.
So, lastly, before we get into Junebug, I wanted to mention Always Amore. And that one is a complete mood watch for me. Like, it's a rainy day, just coming home from work, and then I throw on Always Amore while I'm cooking. It's such a mood movie. Even how it's shot, and
Yeah,
then you're off the coast of the PNW, and which is a whole vibe in and of itself. Like the
yeah.
movie is a whole mood, and then you got Italian food on top of that, which is like that's comfort in and of itself, right? So you don't have to go too much into it, but just kind of like, and also too, that was a at the time movies and mysteries movie, so it had a more dramatic and a more serious tone to it than the others that you did for Channel. But talk a little bit about your experience with Always Amore.
Yeah, well, that makes sense that it was moody because we shot it in like January
Mm,
in Vancouver. And so, heavy skies and rain, and my character's dealing with grief.
yeah.
She lost her husband 3 years ago and has not been able to fully move on and recover from that. And that's what she does over the course of this movie. She finally goes, okay, I'm still here. I'm still alive. I have to live.
Yeah.
Um, and um, yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, it is moodier. And there is Italian food.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And for a while, my pattern was always watching that movie only when I cooked Italian food to kind of
What do
get
you
in
like
the.
to make when you're watching it? What do you make?
Ooh, I'm experimenting with trying to make my own pasta because
Amazing.
I'm really like, I'm here, I'm in America, but my heart is in Italy. Never been, but it's my goal to. And so I want to make my own pasta, but I'm also experimenting with different sauces and things like that. So like I made this like lemon olive oil herb concoction with did I have salmon or chicken? I think it was salmon that I drenched it in, sauteed that, had some, oh, what is it? Is it fusilli or something? I got it from the farmer's market, and then did like a lemon. like dressing with that, and then
I'm
had
coming over. I'm coming over right now. I'm so good.
listen, if it's one thing we like to do here at Dear Homework, it's eat. I love food. I love food so much. Not that much. Let me stop. Okay, I love it a lot though. But this is not a great segue. But Junebug. So we're just gonna electric slide right on it. So Junebug. This is the movie that's kicking off summer nights for 2024, and the poster for it came out, and it looks so bright and it feels summery, and even the font, it has this like whimsical childlike nature to it. The color palette is given like let's go, it's summer. And so I want to know, what was your first reaction when you got like read the script and you were like, this is the movie that I'm gonna be
Oh,
doing?
well, first of all, I love the poster too. I'm so happy with it. I don't always love the posters,
Yeah.
and we don't get a lot of say in them, but this one I was like, yes, that's exactly
Yeah.
what I would hope for. And we did a bunch of different angles for shooting that. And when we did that one, I was like, oh, I hope this is going to be it. And I'm so happy with the font. So Junebug is actually a movie that I developed for the last 5 years. So this is my baby in many, many ways, along with Summer Israel Johnson, who's the writer on it. It like this is our creation, and then Bart
Yeah.
Fisher and Felicia Kennedy Flamer like helped really shape it and bring it forward, and then David Hooper, our director, put his stamp on it in such a beautiful way, like making bold choices, making choices that were different, making these really great cinematic choices, and Ryan McMaster, our DP, just making everyone went for it. They
Mm.
weren't afraid to make big choices. And this all happened because my friend Kristen Honey introduced me and Summer together. And she said Summer has a movie she wants to make for Hallmark. And I get this sort of thing like a lot. And Summer's script was actually a Christmas script. It was called Junebug Christmas. And I loved it because it was magical.
Mm-hmm.
And it was dealing with these sort of deeper, I like movies that kind of are dealing with a deeper psychological issue, but in a it's like spoonful of sugar
Yeah.
type,
Yeah.
right? And it's
Yeah.
like within some candy. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
deeper issue within a candy coating. So that's what this was for me, and yeah, we worked on it and developed it, and I was on a call with Felicia about a year and a half ago about another project, and she mentioned a project she was working on, and there was a magical element to it, and I was like, oh, okay, it's time to bring in Junebug.
Yeah.
So we did, and Felicia took a chance on it, and I'm so grateful. And yeah, there was just a really beautiful development process, and it feels really great because it was written for me and with me as part
Mm.
of the development process. I
Mm-hmm.
was able to bring a lot of what I offer as an actress, and particularly as a comedic actress, to
Mm.
really bring that out, to really
Oh,
like
that's exciting to
play,
hear.
yeah, to really play with those aspects of myself as much as I can, but still staying in the
Yeah.
genre.
That's exciting. So what about this character, about Juniper? Especially because you have such a close relationship with her, because you developed the movie. How is Juniper different from all of the other characters that you've played in the past?
Yeah, it's interesting. Most of these characters, it's like they're all an element of me. It's just pulling from a
Mm.
different aspect of self. But like for example, my character in Always Amore, Elizabeth, she has so much grace, is how I would describe. Just very, very graceful, and a lot of elegance. And whereas Juniper is much quirkier.
Mm.
Juniper is a little awkward and insecure,
Mm.
and she just hasn't given herself the permission to really live her life, to really go for it and take risks and live big.
Yeah.
She's kind of settling, and this is the reason I think we came on this theme as a teen because I think this is true for a lot of people. We're complacent. There are areas in
Mm-hmm.
our life where we're like, this is good enough, when really our heart wants something deeper. Our heart wants
Mm.
something more expressed. Our heart wants something more expansive, particularly when it comes to relationships. So
Mm.
we have Juniper in what is a very nice relationship. It's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong. This is a guy, I think even in the script, Chenier, what is his last name? Chenier plays my boyfriend at the start of this, Ethan. And he is described in the script as something like the type of guy any mother would be happy that their daughter was with. Something like that. You
Yeah.
know, it's one of those like thumbs up
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
um, kind of relationship. It's like perfectly fine, but she's not happy. You know,
Mm.
she's not really in love. She's not challenged,
Yeah.
and they don't excite each other. But they're afraid to change their routine
Mm.
because I
That'll
think
preach.
change is scary. Yeah,
Yeah.
change is scary. We're like, well, this is good enough. But is it? Like if your 8-year-old self showed up,
Yeah.
is this good enough? Or would your 8 years old self be kicking you in the butt and say,
Mm.
like, maybe, you know, expand a little more? And this isn't usually anything that's like from the outside, get this type of car or do this thing. It's
Right.
an inner thing that is being spoken to. It's an inner feeling
Yeah.
of joy and peace and service and um, feeling that the gifts that you have brought to planet Earth are being expressed, even in the slightest ways, because it's a way of being in the world that children have inherently,
Yes. Yes.
right? They just
Yes.
are it. And we put it down because we're like, oh, well, now I'm this, so I have to behave in this way,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So Junebug, which is the 8-year-old version of Juniper, shows up to say, that's not true.
Mm.
That's not true. Why can't you wear this? You know, Juniper at the start of the story is very repressed and she's wearing, you know, things that are appropriate. And Junebug shows up and is like, that's boring. Don't wear that. Wear something, put some color on you. Like, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, yeah.
You're speaking something. I One of my favorite authors, or my favorite author, C.S. Lewis, he often writes about that a lot because he got a lot of criticism for writing for children. People thought it was very juvenile. But one thing he said was, well, first, a children's story that can't be enjoyed also by adults isn't a good children's story, A. But he also showed how how beautifully you can communicate humanitarian principles through fairy tales. He was very much a lover of fairy tales and just kind of this like his love for the imagination is kind of what sparked in me a love of imagination as well. And I think that's something like what you talked about, that children, without even thinking about it, they play pretend on their own. No one teaches them to play pretend. No one teaches them to act like certain things. You know, like they just jump in with both feet. And even I think of that phrase, like having childlike faith, like just going in with reckless abandon at whatever you do. There's something, and I think C.S. Lewis alluded to this too, like when we become adults, we allow our environment or society to jade us and kind of strip us of our technicolor, for lack of a better word, you know? And so we
Yeah.
live in these like black and white movies as if that's all there ever is. But it's like, no, there's a whole technicolor world out there that if you just make one switch, if you just like make one decision and one shift at a time, your whole world can just, you know, you can truly live the life that you were meant to live. And so I love messages like that, which is something like
Yeah.
that's a reason that I'm excited about this movie as well.
Thank you.
So yes.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things I decided to do along with it was also one of the dreams that I've had for a long time, which is like connecting that theme of this inner child work and the inner child healing, connecting it to something that people could actually do, like a
Mm.
journey that I could take people on that's related to the deeper theme. And so I'm going to do a 4 week inner child workshop with
Wow.
a few friends of mine who are mindfulness teachers, embodiment teachers, somatic coaches, and we'll do an online container that people can sign up for to continue the journey of like, okay, how do I reconnect with the inner child? How do I reconnect with this part of myself? Because it's one thing to say that we want to, but
Mm-hmm.
it's another thing if we don't have the tools, right? We're like,
Mm-hmm.
well, how do I do that? And being on the journey of transformation and healing and wellness is a huge passion for me. So I was like, well, let me weave these two together. So I'll have the links for that on my website after probably like next week. So if people want to continue the Junebug journey.
I like the Junebug journey. I
Look at you, it just came through.
I like
I'll be using that.
So, what would you say if little Autumn was sitting next to you right now? What what would you tell her if you had the chance to?
Oh my gosh. That's such a complicated question. Right?
It is. It's layered. It's
I
an
would
onion.
tell her, look out for the wet cement on your first day of seventh grade. Go left, go left. That's what I would tell her. She was traumatized by that for a long time.
Oh man, it's the little things. I did a life coaching class and we had that as an exercise. Like when we were in our group setting, she had us one of the questions was what is something you would tell your younger self? So
What did you
it's
say? What did you say?
so I said I would tell myself take that second ballroom dancing class because I took ballroom dance my first semester freshman year of college, loved it, Autumn, but I was so scared to take the next step, like the level
Oh,
two.
yeah.
And the ballroom dance teacher was even telling me, oh my gosh, I need you for this dance and you need to do, like, she was all in for it, but
Oh,
I was very scared, like, because it meant I had to travel to competitions and I didn't know if I was good enough, and I'm like, I don't want to do this as a profession, but like, it was so many things that I kind of talked myself out of it. And I
yeah.
every now and then I always wonder what my life would have been like had I taken that level two ballroom dancing class that next semester. So yeah.
Is there a way that you can bring a little of that into your life now? Like, is there a local dance studio where you can take like waltz or salsa?
Well, indirectly, dance came back up in my life about 8 years ago. And I became assistant choreographer at my church for our productions. And so while it wasn't necessarily ballroom dance, dance kind of like forced its way back out again. God was like, sis, we're
Mhm.
not just gonna keep that in there. We gotta bring that out.
Yeah,
And I was like,
yeah,
dang,
exactly.
yeah, yeah. It was
Exactly.
another
Okay, a little
situation.
more. A little more.
Literally,
Yeah.
and it's every like that's every time, and it's always my god brother. He's always the agitator because he was like,
He sounds
darling,
like a little angel in your life, actually.
and
Mm-hmm.
if my god brother's listening, which I know he isn't, but still, I love you. I just want to put it out there. But it was an instance where he told the head of the production, Dar knows how to dance. You should get her in. And so I was all of a sudden I'm like military drafted into this production, and
Oh
then
my gosh.
but it again it opened so much, and yeah, it became a thing. So,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, yeah, that happened. So Miss Autumn, what would you say to someone who doesn't normally watch Hallmark movies? And so this one would be their first one, but they're kind of skeptical. They're like, I don't know, because Hallmark movies, you know how it can have that
Yeah, yeah,
reputation.
yeah.
Like, what would you say to them to get them to watch this movie?
I think they will be pleasantly surprised, and there's a really good say anything reference that and theme that's running through. So it's got a little quirk, it's got a little edge.
That's
Just
perfect.
I
Perfect.
know. I'm like, I feel like maybe I don't talk to that many people who've never seen a Hallmark movie anymore.
Listen, you got some good people around you. But I want to thank you, Autumn Reeser, so much for coming into the home of Dear Hallmark, sitting up on the couch and just talking shop with us. I really do appreciate it.
Yay.
So before I let you
Sitting on the
go,
floor by the couch,
by
actually,
the by
because
the couch.
I need a table to put my computer on. Working on my setup here still. Thank you for having me. This was so lovely and so nice to see you again.
Absolutely. Before I let you go, though, I wanted to give you this space to say whatever it is you want to say. You can talk about hiking, you can talk about Junebug, you can talk about Italian food. It's really your moment to have. I want you to have the last word here, so I'll let you have
Oh my gosh. Oh, you're so sweet. Well, I feel like you asked really, really good questions and I shared everything that I wanted to share, but maybe just saying thank you to everyone who's listening. Thank you for your support. Thank you for continuing to show up for these movies and for supporting me because I love making them and the way that people share with me how they've been medicine in their life then becomes medicine in mine. So thank you.
a woman of few but mighty words, let me tell
That's
you.
it. And perfect timing because my older son is home from camp. 1 second,
Boom.
babe.
So, with that, everyone, my name is Dara. She's Autumn, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode.
Wow.
Bye.
Bye.